I'd like to call this meeting, the September 19th, 2013 meeting of the City of Las Vegas Arts Commission to order. First of all, I would like to see if we are in compliance with the open meeting law.
Yes, we are.
I would like at this time to make this call for a roll count to establish a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We have Vice Chair Grogan. Here.
Here. I thought everybody knew I was.
And then we have members McCoy. Excuse. Okay, Member Epstein.
Here.
Thank you. Member Diener.
Here.
Member Smith. Excused. Member Denton.
Here.
Member Nowak.
Here.
Member Shesick.
Here.
Member Schneider. Excused. Member Alvarez.
Here.
Thank you. Member Michaels.
Here.
Thank you. And Member Friedman or Friedman?
Friedman.
Thank you. Thank you.
In fact, I'd like to welcome Mr. Friedman as one of our new commissioners, and if you would like to say a little bit about yourself and your background, we'd appreciate it.
It's on the website. Probably go through the meeting if anybody's interested in looking at the website. Thank you.
Okay, let me read the following. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, give your name for the record. The amount of discussion as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. Do we have anybody in the audience who would like to speak during this session? Okay, I see none. I would like to move forward on approval of action from final minutes from previous meetings. The meeting of May 9th, 2013, and a regular meeting of May 16th, 2013, and June 20th, 2013. We didn't have quorum for some of these meetings, and this is why the minutes were extended to have vote now. Does anybody have any questions or points to raise on the previous minutes?
On the June 20th minutes, under item number 1, my name is wrong.
Okay, we do not want to have it.
It should be Stacy Michaels, not Stephanie.
We'll make that correction before we post the final minutes.
Are there any other suggestions or correction to the previous 3 minutes of meetings that we are going to be dealing with? If hearing none, do I hear a motion for passage of these meetings?
Do we only vote on the motion for the minutes that we were present?
Yes, you should abstain on ones you were
Then
not.
I need to abstain on the May meeting minutes.
Okay.
And I'll make a motion, that motion, to
Okay.
approve the minutes.
Motion's been made for the 3 meetings, the May 9th, regular meetings May 16th, and the June 20th. We don't require a second to that, so all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, what we want to do is, on issue number 5, we want to have a discussion on, since we're basically entering a new year, we want to establish a committee with one of the committees we want to establish, and as vice chairman I would establish it, is the nominating committee. We have to establish members for chairman, first vice chair, second vice chair for the rest of the year, beginning technically in September, but going into 2014. I need probably about 3 people to serve on the nominating committee. I would also like to be able, that if we get anybody who's interested in serving in any of these 3 positions, that they inform the nominating committee of their interest to serve. And then we will have probably election. We may be also able to try and do an election by phone, if that's possible, so that we can open the October meeting with all the officers selected and start off right away. Who would like to serve on the nominating committee? I have a feeling it's probably you take names, take numbers, and then make recommendations to the regular entire commission. So do I have volunteers? Anybody?
I'll volunteer.
Okay, there's Nancy. Anybody else? I'm looking.
I'll do it.
Okay. It's not requiring very much. Again, it's to take names and then referring it, and then we'll set up a election by phone. Okay, there's 2, and Glenn.
Now, are they meeting at, prior to the next Arts Commission meeting like
They can have a
a
meeting by phone, or they could have a meeting prior to the next
They
Arts
can?
Commission.
They can have a meeting by phone?
It's a committee.
If you can talk about a teleconference?
Yeah, for a subcommittee, for
Just
an
for the
ad
nominating.
hoc committee.
I think you can do it, yeah. It's
Okay.
already posted. You usually post those subcommittee meetings.
Well, when would you have it? I guess is my
I would
question.
say we're going to find very quickly, we technically could have the meeting, take an adjournment, have the meeting, and then come back, but I would say within the next week.
Do you have to be there? Can we just do
My
this?
understanding was that this is an existing...
No, it's a new ad
It's
hoc.
new for creation and nominations.
There was some discussion, I believe, with our city clerk, Beverly Bridges, and they've got a meeting pending about this. If it's an existing subcommittee or ad hoc committee, then they can do the meetings, and by all means, we'll set it up, and then my understanding is that we have to be there. But for one that's not formed yet, that has to be an agenda item where they would have to...
Well, I'm not going to stretch the elections 2 or 3 months. Basically, we've had a nominating committee for the last several years. We've had that established. That's always been in place because we always had to have nominations. So I would just suggest we're putting new people on.
And I haven't been privy to those discussions, so I apologize. That's what I'm saying. My understanding was that this was something that they're going to be discussing, but I think the gist of it is, from what Vice Chair Grogan is saying...
Why don't I take a look at it after this meeting, and I'll...
Yeah, it's the basically thing is anybody wants to serve in those 3 positions would give their names to the nominating committee, and then the nominating committee would turn around and make sure if there's an election, if 2 people want the same thing, then there will be an election. And the nominating committee would make that suggestion. If there isn't going to be an election between people, then we would just put it on the October ballot, or on the October election as action to be taken. So I'm trying to make it simple as possible so that we don't have to formalize this too much.
You're saying so we don't have to have a
I
committee?
think that'd probably be okay, but if it isn't, I'll let you know.
Well, the formalized thing is a nominating committee. We would have a formalized election in the October meeting based on what the nominating committee comes up with. So that would be the formalized announcement
At the October.
at the October meeting.
Regular meeting of the full commission.
Basically, they're just sifting names, so it's
So,
not
yeah,
that
do we
formal.
have to have a
Well, I
subcommittee
think
meeting?
my feeling is you probably can do it informally.
That would be our hopes, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Why don't you get back to me if you feel otherwise?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. That was just to create the nominating committee. We have several other committees that I'd like to bring to your attention, which I would also like to encourage members considering on serving on them. I would go through a couple of those right now. Nancy, you had some comments on some of those committees.
That list is under number
Okay.
5.
Well,
Go to tab
there's
number
Okay.
5. And then,
Yeah.
right.
the committees we've had for a long time, the standing committees have been the Fast Track Committee, which basically meets with the purchasing department to gather a group of artists that have gone through the purchasing process that we can put on teams quickly. In other words, they have their W-9s and all that stuff that purchasing needs to get somebody hired quickly. And we do it every 2 years, so that's kind of been the standing committee. I'm not sure, Lisa, do you remember when that one's due again? When that
It's due.
is it been 2 years?
Yeah.
Jerry, I
Yeah.
think you sat on that. Didn't you and I sit on that last time? Yeah, I think so. Then the next is the Public Art Advisory Committee. That's a really important committee, and they weigh in on all donations and everything. I think at the last meeting, we'd already talked about the PR marketing, and I think it's,
We have people on that right now.
yeah. Rob and I think Paco, you're on it? Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a third person on that.
I'm on it as
Well, then-
according to this sheet.
Ad hoc, okay. So then we have the Education Committee, and that's we've had the Education Committee for years because we've been doing educational programs for years, but in light of the Public Art Plan, Barbara Goldstein's presentation, the acceptance by this body, the education focus moved up to the forefront as something we really need to focus on in this upcoming year and forevermore probably. So I would say we definitely need to take a look at the Education Committee and see who wants to be on it. It's going to be more than just the UNLV class. I don't mean just, but it's going to be doing a lot of work.
Yeah, I would like to, try and suggest activism, that we at least have 3 commission members on each of these committees that would be active, and the idea is you wouldn't just be appointed to it, we'd try to make sure they are active towards some goal. The PR, the Public Arts Advisory, I served on for 2 years, and it made selections on what art was selected by the city to acquire and not acquire. So it's a very strong and powerful subcommittee that that takes action. So I would encourage people to look at that. The PR and marketing, we need to get the goals of the commission and some of the projects we're working on out more into the community to show that we are an active city agency or city commission. So I would suggest people who are interested in PR marketing, that would be something. And we'll actually have committee meetings to try and talk about the issues and try and get some direction. And so I would suggest you take a look at these, see which one you might want to serve on, and again, give your names to myself or to Lisa, and we'll put you on. So it's a sense of activism we'd like to see, and we'd like to have these subcommittees as active functions within the commission.
We need to assign chairs also to each of these committees to really,
Okay.
lead those groups as well.
Okay. Okay. I'll leave that there. I would suggest that you give it some thought and then let Lisa or myself know sometime in the next week or before that to your time and availability.
Would the same thing apply to recommendations for a new, actually a new standing subcommittee that's not on here? Something like that.
New by totally new people or anything like that?
No, a new any ideas?
Oh, yes, certainly. These, we create these committees and subcommittees by project. That's what the fast track is. And we have a lot of even ad hoc committees. So if you have something and the commission believes it deserves a committee, we would form a committee. And I would suggest if you have an idea and a project and a committee you want to form around it, that you probably try and find a few other commissioners so that it's viable and has other people in it. But that's totally open, sure. Anything else on this subject? I appreciate it. Give it consideration. Moving on to item number 6. I would like Lisa to kind of give an update on where we are on this. And I would like to thank Lisa for stepping in and coming back. She has her hands full with a lot of the other projects, but she is more than willing to kind of keep us going and act as a resource, and I appreciate that.
Okay, Our Town Grant. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the National Endowment for the Arts, Our Town Grant. It's been going on for 3 years. It's quite prestigious for communities to receive it. The funding awards run from $25,000, which is kind of the average amount, to $200,000, which is a kind of a rarity, but they do give them out. The outline is supposed to come out the end of this month, and then it's due in January. It's basically a placemaking grant. It's asking communities to work with other communities that maybe they don't normally work with. It has to be submitted by a government agency and a 501c3 nonprofit. I've already taken the liberty of contacting the Contemporary Arts Collective to be our primary partner. Basically, our placemaking grant would consist of a series of temporary public art projects in and around downtown, emphasizing connectivity and also giving artists opportunities to actually compete for temporary public art projects. We'd like to weave in education programs in that as well. We don't have a lot of match. We have $10,000 committed by the Arts Commission. It would come out of fiscal year 15. but we can use in kind, and I think we can also match some of our education monies that have been put towards it. So we really want to emphasize innovation, creative thinkers and artists to come up with ideas for public art projects that will. The placemaking part is to animate the streetscape, to animate downtown, to create visibility, but also I'm thinking of projects that can also create this virtual animation. So if somebody can come up with an idea that would actually do that as well, so we can mix it up that way. So we're going to give it our best shot. There might be some little changes here and there, but we've been talking about it for the past 3 months. And we've kind of gone different places with it, but I think we're pretty much sticking with that. But we're looking at calling it Radiant City Placemaking in Downtown Las Vegas, Public Art Education, Community, and Connectivity. But in really throw out those themes for people to think about: sustainability, technology, just innovative ways to use public art. This could also, depending on funding, this would absolutely have to be scalable, depending on what we get. But it could have a night of public art. It could have tours. It could really pull together everything that we do. And this also ties into what Carol Goldstein was talking about in the public art plan, is using public art right now because of budgets, but also engaging the public and educating artists. So there's a lot we can tie into this program.
And we have a $10,000 that has already been allocated and approved several months ago for this. It won't come out of our budgets until fiscal year 15, correct, Lisa? Yeah.
So if we're awarded, I say if and when. I say when we're awarded.
When's the timing on this?
The award, the grant goes in January 2014, and they notify people over the summer, July, August 2014. And so you can start projects in September, and then they go over a 2-year cycle. So you have 2 years to implement your project.
And it's a match grant, so our 10,000 means if we only have the 10,000, we can only match it for 10. That's only a $20,000 grant. So we're really looking for, we'll do some in-kind match and any other money that comes along.
In-kind would not count in this match?
I think
Yeah,
so.
we can use in-kind.
So this grant has yet to be written?
Right.
It has yet to be written.
Right.
Okay, and to write the grant, we're going to have to need to know what the projects are to put them in the grant?
Yes.
Yes.
I think you need to describe what they are and how you're going to allocate the money, and the budget has to align with that. So, yes, we have to figure out how much I think we can leverage, but just like every other grant, you apply for a certain amount. Say we apply for $50,000, with 25 we match, and then you know that's the lowest you can get. So we'd have to, I think, plan on being able to implement something for $50,000.
When
You apply for multiples,
Multiple.
multiple projects,
Uh,
multiple partnerships.
no, yeah. It's really one project per city.
Per agency, and they really want to see a placemaking project, so. And we've had a lot of discussion about this grant. We could probably talk for a long time on it. I wish we had more time, and we could certainly put it back on the agenda next month as well. But, we have heard that the county may be interested in working on and submitting a grant like this as well, now that they have their public art program going, for the Maryland Parkway Connector, which goes through the city, through the county, and then also through the city. So we're kind of hoping that we can go for this grant this year, and that the county doesn't go for their Maryland Parkway Connector grant until the following year, and that we go together on that grant, because that would really be a great grant. That'd be a really great grant to write, for all of us, for both agencies. So, just some background on that.
When we finish writing this, it will be kind of brought back to the commission, or you will at least outline
Yeah.
what it is,
Yeah.
what the projects are.
Some interesting ideas could come out of seeing some of the activities tomorrow downtown. the Downtown Design Center is collaborating, I think, with the Public Works for Parking Day. ING in parentheses, they transform a parking space into a small park. And a number of organizations around the city are doing that downtown tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely call you. Yeah, it'd be great.
So if any other commissioner has
Yeah.
a concept, they should
Yeah,
come to Lisa
please.
if you want to include it within, or at least have it considered.
It'd be great.
Okay. Any other thoughts or questions? Anybody have any input? I assume we will be notified or brought up to
Yeah,
date down the
we'll
road.
keep you updated.
Okay.
You can go online, you just type in Our Town Grant, it'll come up. There's all kinds of information, and I included cut and paste right off the website, a description, what they're really looking for. Very, very specific. So you really have to stick to what they ask for them.
Okay. Move.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Vice Chair Grover, can we just confirm that the members are on the phone still?
Are you on the phone still?
Yes, I was on mute.
Okay, just checking on you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 7, a report regarding the selection of CoLab, the nonprofit design organization for the Ogden Underpass, and I thought I would have Nancy perhaps bring us up to date on that.
Yeah, I received a call from the Director of Public Works, and he said, would the Arts Commission be interested in working and helping us work on some design elements for the Ogden Underpass, which has kind of been bubbling around for many months now. And we said, whose money? And they said, oh no, we're going to fund it. So we said, yes, absolutely. So after several meetings with the Public Works Department, it became very clear that it's like a design continuation of Project Neon. And for those of you who weren't on this commission, we did bring on CoLab Group to work on design elements for Project Neon. Even though that's several years down the road, that was a really exciting project. And so CoLab has been brought back to the table. The budget is $500,000. The design fee will be $50,000. And I'll let Lisa take it away from there because she's been working with CoLab.
Since this was a continuation of Project Neon, we asked that they keep an artist on any of their design teams. So I believe they're going to put together 3 design teams with 2 designers and 1 artist. And they're going to oversee all the review, and they're going to have public meetings and all of that. So you will be informed of that as well. They did such a great job with Project Neon. And I think the Public Works really liked the design that they came up with. So they really want to continue that. This will also move into more of a talk about vintage signs and kind of that Radiant City idea again. So it's really to make people feel safe as they cross under Ogden. There'll be enhanced lighting, and they'll be working on creating some kind of enhancements for the walls along Ogden. They're going to widen the sidewalk as well.
10 feet. There'll be 10-foot sidewalks.
There'll be railing, so there'll be measures for safety and lighting, and they're going. I think Public Works already plans to include some of those features from Project Neon. I think the reflective element underneath the bridge, so it really plays around with the light. And they're ready to go. They put together this great proposal, which is in your packets, and so.
We don't have any action regarding that, do we?
No, it's just a report, really.
Yeah. Will they be coming back to us for any sort of approval, or is it just kind of Public Works is kind of, we've already
Yeah,
blessed it, I think?
well, we would want the Arts Commission to be on board and be okay with the project, but it's really kind of a Public Works project, but we're helping with it.
Okay.
So, and we're really happy that the Public Works Department is coming to the Arts Commission more and more now, which is great, because they have funding.
But we updated them on the final design for Project Neon, so it'll be the same
It
project.
also works on that underpass. We have another underpass, too, that could be considered. Well, down near the county buildings.
Well, and we can have CoLab come back and make a report when they get all their designs in. We certainly can do that if the commission would like to see that. It might be nice.
Maybe a final presentation.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Anybody have any input on this item? Okay, moving on to item number 8, which is actually was generated from a council person. Thought we should get behind this, and maybe Nancy, you might want to comment on this.
Yeah, I got approached by Councilman Coffin and the city manager's office about the idea of how other cities do it, was they take buildings that have been, abandoned or I forget what the terminology is, and they board them up, but they board them up in a nice way. Many cities have these projects. So this was many months ago, and it's taken the city many months to take a look at this through the city attorney's office, through code enforcement, and all the various agencies that weigh in on projects like this, because everybody has a piece of this project. We have finally come up with an idea. We call it here the Boarded Windows Program. And it's kind of based, actually, the U.S. Conference of Mayors was held here several months ago, and somebody from Cincinnati made a presentation on their project. I forget what they call it, Broken Windows Project, I think.
Future Blooms.
Future Blooms project, and I think that really got everybody refocused and energized on the possibility of doing this. So like I said, after many, many months, we've got a proposal here, and I'll let Lisa take it from here.
Okay, so we have contacted Marcus Tracy. I put a little information in the binders, also with some images that kind of show you some boarding programs. Because we really need to start out working with code enforcement in a pilot program, because it's really getting everybody to work a little bit differently so we can put the art in. So we contacted Marcus because he has a lot of experience working on murals. We knew that he could deliver the artwork. He's going to come up with designs that can be trimmed and then installed on the buildings. Because since Cincinnati has a program where they already know which buildings they are, they know the sizes, they can actually even go onto the property and paint already boarded houses even. We can't do that yet. I would like to see that in the future. So right now, we are just having an artist come up with 4 or 5 designs that can be trimmed, taken by code enforcement's contractors. They take the 4x8 boards of plywood, trim them, and then attach them to the building. So all the painting's done on off-site. And also, he has to come up with some kind of design that can be trimmed and still look good. So this is just, baby steps beginning to get into this program where other cities have quite elaborate programs that work quite well, and they even get in there and do landscaping and lot cleanups and all of that. But right now, it really isn't particularly safe to have somebody go on site and paint there. So,
Do we have any number of houses or buildings that might be impacted in this?
I don't know
Well, they
total,
started
but we're going to start with
the 10. After a meeting with the city manager's office, it was decided to start with a prototype, like 10, to see how that's done. And then after the 10, we'll all regroup and figure out, how we can move forward. Is it working? What's not working about it? So 10 for the time being. So what Marcus would be doing would be for 10 houses.
Is it for residential
Yes.
initially? Okay.
Yeah.
It's residential. This is a program where you could work in schools with, down the road, there's a lot of potential for, more complex in education programs. So, but for now, we've asked him to paint enough boards for 10 houses, so we came up with 4x8 sheets of plywood per house, and then code enforcement will pick them up and have them cut and all of that. So this is just a start, a demonstration project. We're going to put together a committee of Public Works and
City manager's office.
City manager.
Councilman's office.
To review the designs.
Yes, and somebody from this body, maybe, hopefully.
Okay. Do we want to do an ad hoc committee for
Or just maybe have one
one
representative from the
person?
commission?
Okay.
Is anybody interested in seeing what they would come up with?
And then we bring it back to the entire commission.
Member Mike?
This is a great idea.
Yeah, it's a lot of cities have had it for a long time, and it's amazing how projects like this just make everybody's head spin, though, because there's right-of-way entry, there's, who owns what, and who steps on what property, and is it safe for the artist, and we've worked through a lot of it. We know we still have to work through more, but we're to the point where we just have to do it now and then step back and go, okay, now what's working, what's not working, and how do we move forward? Because, like as Lisa said, we think this would be a great education program for us. If we could get schools and kids involved in it and, not obviously put them on site on these buildings, but just involved in the art-making process, it'd be pretty neat, so.
Yeah, a lot of other cities, their homes are right up to the right-of-way, right up to the sidewalk, so you don't really have to enter the property a lot of times. Also, this is a great collaboration, say, with Keep America Beautiful. We have a local affiliate where they would come in, maybe do some lot cleanups. They also have safe routes to schools, in which they also do murals. So Cincinnati really does, and a lot of other cities, they target these hot spots, and they don't just do a few houses here and there. They really go into a neighborhood and they really try to revitalize it and really bring it up. And it's that whole broken windows theory. If you see a bunch of broken windows, it brings down the neighborhood. Anyway, so this is our first step into that.
Lisa, would you email everybody? She's got a website to the Cincinnati's program that you can log on and see it. It's pretty neat. So if you could email everybody, that would be great.
Yes.
I have a question. Could this be translated, you were talking about strictly residential. Could this be translated to a borderline, let's say a commercial building that's right on the edge of a huge residential area that's a big eyesore? It has been boarded up. This is in my Ward 4.
I was going to say, it sounds like you have one in.
This is Ward 4, I do, and he goes, it heads to my house, and there's this one sore spot.
It is your house now. I'm kidding.
But the Grace, you can. This is right on the edge of a freeway exit, and it's all an entryway to a total residential area. And I've seen that in some other places. In Ward 4, that is not unusual.
Yeah.
When you have a small corner commercially zoned, or it might even be zoned residential, or combination, and then the rest of it's residential.
I think we definitely look at all of that. I think we have to just get these 10 in Councilman Coffin's ward going. But then who knows what that will open up? If we can figure out how to do it, I'm guessing that it could be applied in many different ways. So, yeah.
Is there anybody else have any input in it? We have a commissioner who's going to serve on the committee. If you have houses or commercial things you'd like to bring, certainly submit the names, and I'm sure they'll look at the pots. Do we need action on this?
Yes, there's the budget.
So we're going to need a voting action to support this. There's money tied into this thing, and we want to be able to carry it forward.
$16,550 is what we need a motion on.
Do I hear a motion to support this project?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for the support to the $16,550 for the boarded properties project. Do I hear any further discussion on the item? If not, can I have a vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So, sounds good. At least we have a pilot project going, and that sounds very positive. Now we need some business economy going to take care of the buildings.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to the next item is we have West Side School Gates. Again, I'm going to pass this on to Nancy to begin
And I'll
the
just make
discussion.
this, I'll make this really quickly. We had formed the committee, and Jerry, I think you and I are on it. And this has to do with the West Side School project that the city's very involved with, and it was to bring an artist on to help design gates. That has already gone through the process, and the artist Zach Ostrowski has been selected. No contracts have been done yet. They're in the purchasing department to start the contracts. And I just want to say that what's really going to be important on this, and Jerry and I have talked about it, is working with the community and working with KME Architects. And so it'll kind of be up to us to get Zach, and we'll get community input on these gates, because these gates are going to be very important to the project. So that's my, all the budget's already been approved and everything, it's just an update.
Isn't an update, no action required on this?
No.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on this item? As it gets closer, we'll see the designs.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah, he'll come back and show the designs and everything, sure.
Okay. Moving on to number 10 on Charleston Heights Arts Center.
And that, I guess I probably need to start that one out as well. We've also got contacted by Councilwoman Tarkanian's office. We're popular, which is a good thing. And there's some Charleston Heights Arts Center, if you've not been there, is a really nice, wonderful art center with a really wonderful 364-seat theater in it. And it had a bunch of trees in the front that were kind of dead, and so they're going to field office is going to replace all the trees, and Lois really likes the idea that new trees are going to go in there, and then they also decided that they wanted to see some public art in front of the building, and would that be possible? Now, they came and approached me wanting to know if people could donate public art, and that they felt that there'd be a lot of people wanting to donate public art. So all that we're here about is a discussion that it can go two ways. This body can either decide to look at its budget and allocate money and go out and put out an RFP for public art on this building, or we can say, yeah, what's out there like the picture that you've got is from an artist named Chris O'Rourke. And the reason why I included this in here is because he called my office over a year ago wanting to donate a piece to the city, and we really had no place to put it. And so I just included it because we cannot seek donations, but he came unsolicited to me. So it's kind of like, unless people really know of somebody that wants to donate, it's hard to go out and seek donations. I think the councilwoman's office may have people who have already contacted them, but the decision here is, do we want to look at a budget, do we want to put an RFP and pay somebody to create a piece of work for Charleston Heights Art Center, or do you want to task my office with working with the councilwoman's office to see what donations might come in that then would go before the Public Art Review Committee. So it's money, no money. And even donations, we wind up paying money to cite it. For instance, I don't know if Chris's work is even still available, but that would cost money to ship and install. And that onus would be on the commission. So that's the discussion.
Chris is a local artist. He creates some amazing work. I mean, he does it all here. Was this the piece he was looking at donating?
Yeah, this was one of them. I think he has sent others as the months have rolled by, but this was one, yeah.
Wow, his work goes for a lot.
I know.
He donate it to the city, and I'm sure we can find a home for it. I mean, I love his work. I'm not crazy about the Charleston Arts Center. This being there, I would like to see this down in the Arts District, but if he wants to donate it.
Well, if we have the Charleston Arts Centers looking for a location and we're watching our budget, the idea of finding a contribution to support is probably our first direction to go.
Okay.
And then see what we get and generate it from a couple other artists too.
And I can report that, if that's what everybody thinks and agrees with, I can report that back to the councilwoman's office. I can say, well, we're going to proceed with seeing what donations are out there, and I can contact Chris. And like I said, I don't even know if this is still available, but I certainly can contact him because he already contacted me. And then then maybe in the October meeting, I can report back that we've been able to find something, or the Public Art Review Committee is looking at different things, or there isn't anything and we need to figure out what we're going to do. Does that sound okay?
Any other discussion? Anybody else has any thoughts? I just don't see for the Charleston Arts that we spend a lot of money to create a statue or go out into the public looking for something. That we'd have better places, as you're saying, to cite something if we find a good artist and a good piece of work. Okay.
That's true, too. I would just say, though, to add to that, it is nice to be able to take the work out to the other wards, too. And, we do want to kind of concentrate on everybody's ward. And we do a lot downtown, and wonderfully so. But it just, on the side.
Yes.
I live in Ward 1. We'd like some art too.
Okay, so the direction is to see if we can find contribution from this artist or other artists for this particular location.
Okay. Thank you.
And convey that back to the council. Okay, moving on from there, as We have Cultural Corridor also. Lisa, you want to visit on that one?
Yes. Actually, I went crazy and made copies, so if you want to pass that around.
Okay. Just
A couple of years ago, we completed 3 projects in the cultural corridor. The Arabesque Bridge by David Briggs, Flourish by Denise Duarte, and Banners by Martin Kreloff. The project, I was trying to look and see how many years the project was. At least 5 years, at least.
Oh, yeah.
In the
It was
making.
2007.
Yeah. Oh, 2007, okay. Anyways, the Cultural Corridor is organized, it's a consortium, basically of museums, and with the Shakespeare Company, now a performing arts facility. And they're really, I go to the Cultural Corridor meetings, they're very interested in making a big marketing push. They feel that people don't really know that the Cultural Corridor is there. So going back to the banners, these banners were created to create an identity in the area. Each banner related to various museums or organizations that were there. Since then, there's been a couple changes, like the Lead Children's Discovery Museum is gone, and Reed Whipple Cultural Center is now the Shakespeare Company. So they really want to create banners that say Cultural Corridor. They think these are great, but they really don't think they do anything to market the area. So what they're proposing, they knew that the Arts Commission was involved. They came to us. We said that the artists created these, and they said that it's really important that they get banners that say Cultural Corridor on them prominently. I think there's one banner in all these designs that Marty created. It does say Cultural Corridor on the bottom. I don't know if it's cut off. I think it's the one. Anyway, so they said they would make best efforts to take these banners once they come down from the poles. I think there's like 40 banners that are repeated. The designs are repeated, starting from the is it 3rd Street by the Neon Museum, and then going up Bonanza, and then going up from Neon Museum to Washington. To take those banners and display them at their facilities. So we actually have a whole set in storage, a replacement set. So they can be given brand new banners to display how they would like them. Also, right now, the banners are in need of changing out. They have faded. Some of them have fallen off due to the weather. So basically, they're coming to the Arts Commission. They're requesting, deferring to us that they could remove them, design, and pay. They would pay for the new banners and install them. So it wouldn't be any cost to us. It's that we would have to notify the artist and let him know. The banners have been up for 2 years, but like I said, the project's been around since 2007, just to give you a little background. Because of delays, everything didn't finish, fabrication and all of that until 2011. So that's where we're at.
So the Cultural Corridor wants to pay for this new set of banners?
Yes.
And they want the artist to maybe adjust the artwork to say Cultural Corridor?
I think to
No.
create new art
Yeah.
altogether.
Oh.
And I think the sensitivity part is the existing artist, we're going to kind of say, here's all your stuff back. And we have to handle that very gingerly so that we don't surprise them.
They didn't like the art? Or
No, they like the art a lot, and everybody likes the art, but they've decided that they want to brand the Cultural Corridor. They want, instead to say the individual institutions, they wanted to say, you're entering or you're on the Cultural Corridor. And they also don't feel that people really got the benefit of this. It's not that they didn't like the artwork, they didn't think it made a visual impact, whereas they think if one banner, one design, saying Cultural Corridor was repeated and repeated and repeated, it would make an impact on like saying here's where you are. So they all, I mean, we're encouraging them, and I think so far from what we've found out is that they all really want their banners. They would like to put their banners up on their property themselves if they can find a place for them.
So the banners would not necessarily be all over, lead, go to specific places.
And a couple of them are no longer there now anyway, so.
They wouldn't be on poles unless they had a pole on their property.
Years ago, I worked on a banner project with Richard Hooker, 12 years ago, 10 years ago,
Good.
down Las Vegas Boulevard.
The aerial gallery.
Yeah, the aerial gallery, and we did something kind of novel. We couldn't afford to do it on all the poles, but we had a little flag that came underneath, and it said something. I can't recall what it said, but and it was the artist names. The artist names. And I wonder if that would be a solution where they would have these banners exactly the way they are, but have a little kind of flag that came underneath with the cultural corridor repeated across all the poles.
Well, the actual thing is they've lost a couple places down there, so you're just going to have not that many art designs. You're going to have fewer art designs.
I'm not sure what the poles will support. Are these the big poles, Lisa, or the smaller poles? Because sometimes it's whatever, when we first started doing Aero Gallery, in my mind, I had visions of banners huge, like I saw at the Guggenheim. Huge banners on huge sidewalks set back that when you were driving down the street, it was like, whoa, look what the Guggenheim's doing. Well, we found out very quickly that those take special poles that handle that kind of a wind load, and, it's just, what happens in Las Vegas, it happened to the Aero Gallery, because when we first started that project, we did different artist designs on every banner, and it was just visual noise. I mean, they were beautiful, but nobody really saw them, because you're competing with the palm trees, with the federal building, with the sidewalk, with the double-decker. There's just so much competition out there. So then we decided, we just go one color. That helped a little bit. Then we went with one artist. Every time we kind of honed it to kind of get to where actually the cultural corridor is trying to go is repeat, same color, same design, and eventually it'll start to click in people's head. But our biggest issue was we couldn't put big banners up there. They couldn't, the poles couldn't take them, which we felt if we could put a big banner, that would really grab people's attention, but we couldn't do it. Plus, they have to be a certain height because of the double-decker buses. And I think these poles, these may be on poles that only will take this, but we could easily check it. I mean, I don't know if it would take an addition on the bottom. I don't know. We could find
We want
out.
the design to come back to us, though. Whatever they design and it goes on a public thing, we should look at their design.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can ask them
That
to do
comes
that.
back to us.
Right.
Lisa, is there it says here, with new banners as part of their marketing awareness campaign, what else are they doing for marketing awareness that they've shared with you? It's part of their...
Right. I think they're just trying to get more publicity out, coordinating. I think they put together a committee. I know that on Shakespeare Company, they even changed the name of the building to the Cultural Corridor
Logo. Theater.
Theater, and with an old Cultural Corridor logo that has these big circles. Somebody designed it years ago, and they kind of are reusing that. But yeah, they're rebranding the Shakespeare Company Theater with the Cultural Corridor
I think
Theater.
the reason I was asking is that this is just my own experience. Banners are good temporary pieces of collateral. They're not permanent branding tools, so they have a very limited shelf life, and with the weather elements makes it particularly difficult. A banner is meant to be up a week, really, unless you, then it might even become offensive or an eyesore at some point in their desire to brand, and they end up getting a reverse reaction. One thing that we could, if we're just saying yes or no to banners, that's one thing, or whether it might be suggested to them that using the designers, the artists that they have, because artists can do anything, find another platform other than a banner. Is there another platform other than a banner from which to brand their art? Is there another piece of it's my lingo, collateral other than a banner? because they're going to tear, like you said, in the wind, they're going to fade. All
Well,
of it's gonna
these have
be-
been up for 2 years, so they've lasted 2 years. I would say that, that's a good discussion to have maybe with the cultural corridor folks, because they have marketing and PR people in those institutions that are part of that committee. So they really understand the collateral and all the different kind of marketing. They've just never had a lot of money to put towards it. I don't think that they're looking at the banners as their definitive marketing tool. I think they're just looking at them as a way to possibly help market that. I mean, I went and fought for banner space. We had all the poles on Las Vegas Boulevard for the aerial gallery, and then the Las Vegas Convention Visitors Authority came and asked the city if they could take some of them back, and we were in between aerial gallery shows, so I didn't have a leg to stand on or a pole to stand on, so they took some of them back. And then I went back to them just about 4 months ago, and I said, look, the Neon Museum and the Mom Museum really need some banners up there, because what the LVCVA does, if you can even see these banners, they're way up high, and it just says, Las Vegas or something. It's very generic. So they said, yeah, absolutely. If you want, and we gave them the artwork that we proposed for it, which was all done pro bono, and boom, they went up. And they actually look pretty good because they're repeated. Neon Museum, Mom Museum, Neon Museum, and you're going down toward those institutions. So that's, I think, the same kind of idea and thing that they were looking at. We didn't take off Marty Kraloff's banners to do that. We just took off LVCVA banners to do it. And we were only allowed, I think we got maybe 8 or 9 polls to do it
Their
on.
constituents, do they have any data to support the fact that banners have been very real positive for them in terms of branding there?
The corridor probably, I don't know if they're collecting that data. It would be the individual. The corridor is made up of, there are 7 nonprofits on the corridor, and they come together and they meet, they call themselves the Cultural Corridor Coalition, and they meet every month. So they're really just nonprofits that have formed together to try to do joint programs and marketing, safety in numbers, and they've really been doing a really good job, and they're getting better and better at it. As these institutions like the Neon Museum and the Shakespeare Company wind up with professional staffs, and those people wind up on this Cultural Corridor Coalition, they really do better and more work. So I don't know if they're collecting. I know the Neon Museum is collecting stats because I sat on that board up until 2 weeks ago. And the city, our office collects stats on all the major cultural institutions downtown. But I don't know if the Cultural Corridor Coalition is doing it in terms of marketing. I'm not sure.
I think what we're looking for right now is the ability of the coalition to remove the banners that have been up there 2 years, and then perhaps to your question, that they come back with what they intend to put up and the designs they intend to put up, and that would be something that the Art Commission would look at and vote on or support or give comment on.
So
Would that-
who paid for the banners originally? Did it come out of the Arts Commission budget? And what was the intended use of the banners? For what length of time were they purchased to be used?
We looked at the contract. There's no date and time on the contract. And as Stan said, banners are not really meant to be
Right. But I'm
permanent.
sure the investment was meant to last 2, 5, 10 years,
That
whatever
was
the
never-
expectation was.
It was never stated in the contract. We started the project in 2007 in conjunction with the, which trail, Lisa? The Cultural Corridor Trail? Yeah, and it was just, we put designs in the sidewalk, we put the banners, we put the bed bridge over. It was just to kind of, showcase the trail. But there was never any in the contract, because that's the first thing we looked at. We looked at the contract. There's no timeline.
I would be supportive since they're paying for it, since they're willing to make that payment and it doesn't come out of our budget except to review it as public art.
Although I kind of liked Paco's idea of maybe trying to work with the existing banners if there's a way to add the cultural corridor element to what's already there. And maybe it's something as an alternative. There's some banners that need to come down because these organizations are no longer in the cultural corridor. Maybe there's an opportunity then to reallocate the banners and then add a new banner that says cultural corridor. So it's like, one of these and then cultural corridor, then one of these and then cultural corridor. So we can continue to use these, but just add to it and accomplish what they're trying to get and still leave this art up that seems to be well thought out.
What's our contract with the artist?
What is it?
Is it just cut and dry? Can we tell him who decided to remove them? I mean, And so you promised a certain.
We
That's
checked
fine.
with the city attorney, and there wasn't any time frame as far as, we would keep them up. It wasn't that detailed.
Were they just purchases essentially?
Uh,
The city took ownership of them?
Yeah, the city, yeah. The designs belong to Marty. The banners belong to us.
I guess my only thought is if, is this going to be something where then every time we put a new banner up and then somebody else comes along in a year and wants a new banner, we're constantly replacing that?
We've never done this. This is the
Yeah.
first time we've ever been approached.
It just sort of sets up a situation, so it's worth thinking about.
Yeah, and this group can say absolutely not to the cultural corridor. They can say we're not even going to consider it, and then they'll regroup and try to figure something else out. Is what they'll do.
Well, I think we could have a motion that would suggest that the commission would be supportive of new banners or updated banners, subject to the fact that, number one, can they use the existing art? Number two, that they show us what they have in mind as putting banners up, so we can look at it. And then when they come back, then you can make your points of, well, it can be this, this, or that, if it's a design element issue. I wouldn't want to discuss designs now when we don't even know what sort of thing they have in mind for a marketing tool.
Is the idea of having something, at least hearing some thoughts about something other than banners be even entertainable?
On those poles, though, this is what they want to put on the poles. I don't know what their marketing
I
strategy
think their marketing would be
is.
left to them. We're just
Yeah.
considering the art function of it.
Similar to what we have in the Arts District, like the 18
Right.
banners.
Yeah.
I also was pretty surprised when I was driving down Charleston and saw the medical district metal banners. There's a lot of them, and those things are not cheap. Is that something that they would want?
Oh, you mean the cultural corridor? I don't know what they have in
They're
mind.
metal.
So they're more resilient.
Yeah, they last.
They have. They work with a graphics design company. I'm not sure. I would venture to say it might be Uri Creative, and I'm not positive. And they do their work pro bono for them, and they work real well together. But I don't know what Uri has said that they want. I'm sorry.
I can't imagine they've got a huge budget to do.
No, they don't. And that's why they said they came to us and said there'll be nothing from the city, no cost to the city. We just feel it's time to market the corridor. Is really what they're looking at. That's all.
Now, the corridor, Nancy, correct me if I'm wrong, begins at Bonanza or Stewart?
No, the corridor begins at Washington.
But to the south? Where does
Yeah, it goes. The cultural corridor goes all the way up to the freeway. So what would that be? I guess you could say Bonanza. It kind of pretty much stops when the freeway overpasses there.
So you guys just basically you add the post office mob museum by default because they're kind of in the
Right.
vicinity?
Right, and because of the scenic byways too, we do a lot of scenic byways work on that street, and the scenic byways, any street that ties in, T-bones into it, is included in it. So some funding that we've gotten for things has been historic preservation money through the scenic byways, and because that Stewart T-bones into it, it's eligible.
The reason why I bring it up is, Zappos, is, where they're at, and we're going to.
I know it well.
Yeah. We're going to start attending the Cultural Corridor meetings.
Oh, good.
The way we're working is, because we offer tours of the facility for free to the public, and also we're curating a museum that's going to be part of the Zappos campus. We want to do...
A jail museum?
No
Just
jail
kidding.
museum, no. And that was kind of a joke. No, it's going to be, we're going to do changing exhibitions and work with other museums around the
That's
country
neat.
and stuff like that. So we'll be part of kind of the attractions of the area.
Well, then you should be added to it, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
That'd be great if Zappos started attending cultural programs. I think that's great. I mean, the thicker the fabric weave gets, the better it is for everybody. So,
But maybe the way we can at least deal with it today is not necessarily have a motion towards any action, but perhaps direct staff to go to the cultural quarters people and ask for what their proposal will look like, so we have a more visible look to make decisions on that basis. Give us a little bit better decision-making.
That's,
Is that
and
acceptable to
Stacy,
everybody?
your recommendation was to stick with these and just add something, whatever it is, we'll take back to them.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with alternatives because I know they can't have a tremendous amount of money to invest, and
No.
so I would hate for them to take these down and then put up something, for lack of a better word, cheap that doesn't, because it's what they could afford.
Well, and they'd bring it here. They'd have to bring it here, so, yeah.
Shall we have the staff therefore directed and not necessarily do it in a motion? Is that acceptable with the commission, or would you like to have a motion? Okay. The staff is so advised to take kind of the direction and thoughts of the commission to them and try and get back a more specific proposal, both to what
Okay.
the art will look like and
Okay. And one of
And
Lisa's many hats
suggesting-
is that she goes to these meetings and she'll do that. So,
Do
yay.
you want me to suggest that we also keep the banners and then just incorporate? Something else?
I don't think that's a direction, because that should come from them. I think what she's saying, if you could maintain the art that's existing, it's a suggestion. I don't think we want to tell them to do it. They may have better ideas.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thanks for the input.
Okay, let us move on to number 12. And number 12 is, we have an update on that, and probably, Lisa, you can bring us up to that one.
Okay. Well, after a couple little delays over the summer, a lot of it because of construction, we hope to be installing the sit-down hanging sculptures in the DSC over the weekend of October 3rd. If you're not familiar, I did include a conceptual drawing and some photos of the pieces. They're hand-sewn fabric over wire frames, and they'll be suspended by aircraft cable. They'll have two points, so they'll have a little bit of kinetic movement, hopefully not a lot. And they were designed to, the colors just provide a lot of pop to the building. It's like a 1960s or 70s design building that hangs in the atrium. And that's really it. I just wanted to give you an update. Once it's in, then we can talk about perhaps at the next meeting dedication, things like that. So.
Okay. Let us move forward then on to item number 13, possible action regarding the monthly status of the Daily Frame mobile web. And Lisa, you want to?
Basically, there's a report in your binders. I asked them to really give us some, stats, how many artists that they've worked with so far, and what they're planning. But basically, they've worked with 12 different artists. I'm not sure how many. I think they're supposed to go 60% new artists.
Right.
I think on their new contract.
Can I make a suggestion in light of that it's 5:10? That if this is this critical, Lisa? Is he waiting for something for approval? Can we put this and bait it till October?
I think is it an action item?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they just approval for his first payment.
Okay.
We talked about that.
I think I would like to see approval for the first payment, but then I'd like the PR and the web committee to meet between now and October to perhaps look at our overall social media interaction. I think that's something that we need to focus on. Anybody have any discussion on this item? I know it sounds like we're rolling through on it, but it's been discussed at previous meetings. If I can get a motion to support this one, then we'll have at the October meeting, Lisa, will you give us an update if there's any more action to be required?
For the Daily Frame?
Yes.
Is there anything particular you want to know?
No, I think I'll tie it in with the PR and web committee.
Okay, we'll put it on the agenda.
Okay. Do I hear?
Wanting a motion for approval of first payment?
Yes. Thank you for making that motion.
Is it in the amount of $14,000 or is it parking.
No, that's
No,
the whole
that's the whole-
allocation.
So what's the specific amount?
Yeah, I don't know what the
I don't
first-
think we have to prove the specific, the first, it's in the contract, I don't have.
Yeah, we don't have to, I'm sorry, this is an item that fell
The
between the
amount's already
cracks.
been approved at the annual projects planning meeting, so.
Well, let's have a motion to advance the first payment according to the contract.
Okay.
Any motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
My eyes glance up and you're my motion person.
Subject to the terms of the
Subject to
contract.
that. Okay. Is there anything from the commissioners, discussion regarding number 14, future topics, agenda items, things that you would like to see discussed at future meetings? If you don't have anything on the top of your mind right now, we can bring it up later, or you can contact me and we can put in the agenda.
I have something if nobody else does. I mean, just really quickly, I just wanted to say that we have posted this position again. It's got posted Monday. So if anybody knows of anybody who would be great as working with this Arts Commission, please go to the city's website. You'll see it posted there. It's on the PAN network website as well. And the public art plan has not been accepted by City Council. We agree that it should be, but I kind of felt that we should wait until we get this new person on board. There's no time frame involved that it has to be, but I think once we get the new person on board, one of the things we need to do is look to having that approved with City Council. So I haven't done it yet because I'm just waiting for the new person to come on board.
Paco, did you?
Just going through the interview process now, or?
We haven't done the interview. It's just been posted, and it'll be posted, I think we're going to post it for 3 weeks, and then when it closes, we'll get our list, we'll interview. It still has to go to civil service to be approved, and we think we'll be able to get somebody on. It'll probably take until December. That's because civil service is once a month, and da-da-da. But no, it's just got posted, so people are just applying now.
Any other comments from any other commissioners? I'd like to make 2 points real quickly as we go into this new year and elections coming up. One of the things is the social media. Again, it's back to my concept of having an active board. I would appreciate it if any of the commissioners are active in the community, as you all are, that you notify Lisa, Nancy, or myself of events that are happening where any of the commissioners could attend, or if there's ability to invite any commissioners to any activities that you follow up that are either cultural or even art-oriented, so we can get commissioners out into the neighborhoods and the commissioners can interact with other citizens and let them know what we do and we're out there. So what I'm just suggesting is if you get good invitations, share them with everybody so that we have kind of a network going on between everybody. A second point I want to bring up, and this is a little bit more editorial, is that Nancy representing the cultural side of the department and myself representing as vice chairman at this point, is that I'm a little bit concerned with kind of the way our meetings are. And in that regard, we're going to have a meeting with the city clerk. And I have certainly no problems with the efficiency. You notice I'll get political real quick. I have no problems with the efficiency of how the meetings are recorded or taken care of. I think what I have the problem with is the philosophical point that this commission is a very, first of all, artistic. It's made up of people who are very innovative and individualistic. And to be limited where we are confined in a room that I consider non-aesthetic at all, and that we are limited to an hour specific and we don't have flexibility. There are other commissions and boards around the city that can meet for hours if they wanted to, but yet we're being pushed to where our agenda is narrowed and we don't have this ability to have interaction. So I'm going to be raising some of those questions in a discussion with the city clerk on what our flexibility under city law is. One of the other items that we're a lot different from other commissions are is that we do have representation to the neighborhood to get out to the neighbors, to be able to go into the communities and talk to them and show them what we do in our art. And I don't think we should be restricted to a meeting room such as this when we should have the ability to go out into the community. Of course, some of that is required that we have to have some of the meetings or all the meetings that are formalized specifically recorded, but that doesn't preclude us from having a neighborhood meeting or a meeting at an art institute sort of action things that we can at least be seen out in the community. So if you have thoughts along this, if you see ways of better improving our function as a commission, please report that to me or to Nancy, and we will carry that forward in our meetings with the city clerk when we have that meeting. So that's my observation. Does anybody else have any other comments from commissioners? Let me go back to any other public comments, citizens' participation. Any input from our deputy city attorney?
No.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. Any other public citizen participation? Seeing none, I would like a motion for adjournment. There's a motion for adjournment. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, I get to do this.